Hello, everyone. We are up to chapter 3, which discusses Shabbat times and specifically when Shabbat begins and ends. But this is a whole chapter, so there's a few different aspects. So, as an introduction, Rabbi Melamed actually taught me something that I never even thought about. I'm sure that I saw it in the text all these times, but I never ever made that connection. So, in the Torah, night precedes day for all matters. This is derived from the description of the world's creation, about which the Torah states, and there was evening and there was morning, day one. And this tells us that each 24-hour day begins at night, and thus Shabbat, the seventh day, begins at night. So I don't know how they knew at that time that it was 24 hours because there was no way to measure a specific hour. I know that in ancient cultures, people were able to recognize if it's already a third of the day or a quarter of the day based on the position of the sun, but I don't know that they were able to be exact by the minute. I think that I remember once watching a young person from India, and he was impressing this British guy by telling me exactly what time it was without using a watch. So, um, anyway, so it begins at night. An important concept is unfolded within this Jewish outlook. Night and darkness precede day and light. First, questions and dilemmas arise, and one is mired in darkness and uncertainty, but emerge, from this, answers emerge, and light shines upon them. This is also true of our history. At first, we were enslaved to Pharaoh in Egypt, but from there we were freed, received the Torah, and entered Eretz Israel, the land of Israel. This is how it always is for the Jewish people. Darkness and troubles are followed by light and redemption. First, we must deal with our problems, but from within them we are elevated and refined. And last night we actually talked about that a little bit in Moreh Nevuchim, about how we trust that Hashem does know everything that happens. In contrast, it comes to the nations of the world. When it comes to nations of the world, day precedes night. Nation after nation ascends the stage of history, makes a vast noise, and shakes up the world. But when difficulties arise and problems begin, the night draws nearer, and finally the nation declines and disappears. It happened to the Babylonians, the Persians, the Greeks, and the Romans, and many, many others. The secret of Jewish immortality, of us as a whole being a nation, is connected to the fact that for us, the night precedes the day. We are always looking forward to the light and to the encouragement that Hashem gives us. And that's why in Mizmor Shili on Shabbat, we say, La'agid b'boker chasdecha, that we appreciate the loving kindness of Hashem during the day when it's all clear, but emunatcha b'leilot, that we trust that even when it's leilot, even when it's night and dark and scary, Hashem will be protecting us from all of that. Since the night precedes the day, the seventh day begins at the beginning of the night, but the sages were uncertain as to exactly when night begins. Is it when the sun sets and is no longer visible to us, or is it when it becomes dark and three medium-sized stars can be seen in the sky? Meaning, there was also an opinion about three large size, and there was also a more stringent opinion, which actually could cause us to break Shabbat, to desecrate Shabbat, if you only can see three small size stars, not the medium size. And so if you brought in Shabbat only when that, so it's like now it's 4:15 is more or less the time of sunset. 4:30 is more or less the time of sunset, and so you would have to wait about an hour and a half, and you can't allow people to do melacha at that time. So this is what they were concerned about. In other words, are day and night defined by sun or by light? In Eretz Israel, about 20 minutes separate sunset and the emergence of the stars, and that's what's called Ben Hashmashot, which will be coming up several times in this chapter, though this interval fluctuates based on the time of year and the particular location's elevation above sea level, as explained in number 1 below. Another unique feature of Judaism is that not every question has an absolute answer. Doubt and uncertainty occasionally play a role, and the present halacha is an example of this. The time between sunset, Shkiat Chama or Shkia, and the emergence of stars, Tzet Kochavim or Tzeis, is classified as a time when it is uncertain whether it is day or night and is called Ben Hashmashot. In practice, for all Torah laws, including Shabbat, we follow the well-known principle, Safek D'Oraita L'Chumra. That is, we rule strictly when in doubt about Torah law. Therefore, Shabbat begins at Shkia and ends at Tzeis. So I'll just add two things. One is that there's all kinds of halachot that we're going to learn that Ben Hashmashot plays a role. I'll just give one example. A baby that was born during those 18 or 20 minutes between sunset and tet, and it was Friday night, is not circumcised the next Shabbos morning, but rather Sunday morning, because we don't know if he was born on Shabbat or not. And we can't do it on Friday morning because we don't know that he's actually 8 days old yet. So that's one very simple application of this. And the other is when we say Safek Doraita L'Chumra, there was more stringent when it comes to Doraita laws, to Torah laws. There is the opinion of Rabbeinu Tam, which is about half an hour after regular people take out Shabbat. And so somebody who wants to be a little bit more pious, a little bit more stringent, does that. And I know many people who did that or are still doing it, and in larger communities they have a special minyan, which is about, like I said, half an hour after the regular minyan to take out Shabbat, and it was because of Rabbeinu Tam's observation of the place where he lived in France to make that questionable and to make sure that everywhere around the world people kept Shabbat properly. Of course, like I said, he could have said also Friday night. It only starts, like he said, about half an hour later. But again, he would be desecrating Shabbat if he was wrong, and so that's why Safek Dorat al Chumrah in both directions. And we'll stop here.